تحية رياضية. مشاهدينا أهلا بكم إلى هذه المقابلة الخاصة والحصرية مع مدرب مانشستر يونايتد, the special one, Jose Mourinho. Mr. Mourinho, thank you very much for the interview. Before you start being a manager, you started with so many managers as assistant. How did it help you in your career as a manager?
No, I think all my life, even if I didn't know it, was to prepare myself for this job. Because I was born and my father was a football player, and I grew up with my father being a football manager. And football become my life. I was not good enough to be a top player, but I was intelligent enough to know that. And I almost can say that all my youth was preparing myself for this. Then I go to sports university. And then I start having experience in football as a youth team coach, and then I become assistant of very good managers in professional football. So when I got my first job as a football manager, I had years and years and years of preparation. So I think everything was like a preparation. I was ready when I got.
And how did you know that you are ready then, that time? Like it was Benfica, I think, the first one.
Yeah, but before that, I was assistant of top clubs with top managers, with managers that they demand a lot from the assistants. I don't think it's easy now to be my assistant, because I demand so much from them, and at that time it was not so easy to be Bobby Robson assistant, Mr. Bengal assistant. They were also very demanding with us, so it was a fantastic learning process for me.
Mm-hmm. You are not demanding with your staff?
I am.
You are perfectionist, let's say.
I am, and I think even in good moments there are always things to improve, and the experience gave me this mentality of not to be depressed in the bad moments, and not to be in the moon with the good moments.
There is a team working with you all the time, like for years and years now. How important is to work with the same team every year and every club you work for?
When you go to a new club, you always try to give some trust and to be quite committed with the evolution of people that is already in the club. We are not the kind of staff that arrives in a new club and we change everything. We don't trust people. We bring a staff of 10 or 15 persons. Not at all. We are, I would say, in modern football, we are a small group because we are 5. Mm-hmm. And we go not just to try to put the engine working as fast as possible. We don't go to clubs just to try to get football results in the short term. We go to clubs to try to help the clubs to be better than they were before, mm-hmm. before we arrive. For that I need my people, the people that I trust. But I repeat, not a bus full of assistants, just a car with people that I trust, that they understand me, that I understand them, and that we are together for more than 1 decade.
In every club you managed, you get titles since Porto till now. What do you do to keep this winning spirit in yourself and the ambition to do better and better?
First of all, I'm happy that you know that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel that people has a very short memory, and they forget what you do in your career. And if my last title was like 10 years ago, I would accept that, but my last title was 6 months ago. And the last time I was champion in England was 2.5 years ago. It was not 20 years ago. So it looks like sometimes people forget it. What keeps me going is exactly the pleasure of doing what I do. Is is a dream job. Is what I always wanted to do. I spend years of my life preparing for this, and even today, 18 years after my first day as a football manager, I'm still preparing myself for the job. Every day I try to prepare myself for the jobs. Every day I have question marks. Every day I try to answer to these question marks. So this is a process that is going on to end when I decide to finish my career. But long time to go.
People say that you are a master in mental training to motivate players. Is it the most important, I think, in your job? And because it's not easy to control players who are stars.
Yeah, first of all, I don't think I'm a master. I think the best way to motivate people is not being a master of motivation. I think the best way to motivate people is to show your own motivation. And this is what I try to do since the beginning of my career. Not special strategies, not at all. Everything for me is natural. I am a very good professional. I give everything I have. I dedicate myself to the job 101%, if that's possible. I want to train well. I want to play well. I want to win matches. I want to win titles. And people that works with me, they feel that every day. And I think that's the best way to motivate people, is for the people to feel that if the boss goes in this direction, we have to go, or of course we are going to have problems in our relation. So it's not being a master, it's just about being natural. The players, I think the reality is that we spend with them a few hours per day, and the majority of the hours they don't spend with us. Mm-hmm. The majority of that time they spend or with their families, or with their friends, or with their agents, or with the people that surrounds them. So it's impossible to have a control on them. And in fact, I think nowadays they have also a very important life, a part of their professional life. Before, the player's life was...
Well, what is it, the life part?
Is what society has to give us, to all of us. It's not just about the football players. My son's life is different than my life when I was 18, like he is, or you know what I mean. So society has a lot of different things to give, and the football player before didn't have the same people surround them and the same business around them. In this moment, they have a commercial area, they have people that works with them, they have agencies working for them, they have the social media. They become more than the football player that 20 years ago was just focused on football, and you have to adapt to that. You know, I try to play with the players that I think they deserve to play. And if you follow that direction, is not so hard. It's not about, for me, it's not about the status, it's not about the salary, it's not about the transfer fee, it's not about the age, is about the performance, and I try always to be honest with, first of all, with myself. And as a manager, the way to be honest with yourself is to make your choices based on what you think is the correct decision. So sometimes people think that if because player A or B is not playing, I'm having fights with them. Not at all. Not at all. I didn't have many fights during my career. And as I was saying before, with the maturity I have now, with the experience I have now, even less. So it's very, very rare that I have a personal problem with the player. Everything is natural, everything is simple, everything is based on pragmatism. If I'm happy, he plays. If I'm not happy, he doesn't play. Basically, I just try common sense in my leadership.
So everything we hear in the media or we read, sometimes it's like over. It's not all true.
No. No.
Comparing the Premier League between the time you arrived here, was it more difficult to win the title, or now is it more difficult?
I don't say more difficult or less difficult, I say different. Different competition. When I arrived, we had 3 powerful teams, 3 really powerful teams. Arsenal, the champion, Manchester United, the traditional champion, and Chelsea, the first club to be owned by a very rich person ready to invest strongly in the ambition of the club. And then a huge gap to the other teams in terms of investment. In this moment, the Premier League has a few clubs with an extraordinary economical power, but then all the others, they are able to have good investments, good players, good squads, and to create the most competitive league in the world. That's pretty obvious.
أعزائي المشاهدين، سنذهب إلى وقفة مع الفاصل وسنعود لمتابعة هذه المقابلة. أهلا بكم من جديد أعزائي المشاهدين إلى هذه المقابلة الحصرية مع مدرب مانشستر يونايتد جوزي مورينيو, the special one. Do you name yourself the special one? You still think you are the special one?
I didn't name myself.
Yeah, you said
No,
it in a press conference once.
I told I am a special one, not the special one. I told that I was not a normal coach. I was one of the good ones, one of the special ones. So if you go back to footage of 2004, it's pretty clear. One thing is the special one, and another thing is a special one. It's a nice nickname, doesn't harm people, it's not an aggressive one, so I don't think there is a problem in it.
Maybe some coach will be like not happy about it.
Why?
Because the special one is like better than them.
What makes you special in football is you win or you don't win.
Yeah.
So if you are a winner, anyone has a right to say I'm special. If you win nothing in your life, you cannot say that you are special. So in football, in the history of football, there are a few managers with a great CV, with a great amount of titles, of medals. So all of them, they have the right to feel they are special. What you cannot say is that you are special if you want nothing.
Okay, recently you have renewed your contract with Manchester United. Are you happy with it? And what's the dream or what's the target you're gonna reach before you leave? Because you always have like, you cannot stay in one team more than 3, 4, almost like this.
Depends. Depends. In this moment, I'm happy with the job, with the nature of the job, with the difficulty of the job, with the way the club thinks, and trying to recover some space that we lost in the last years. Try to recover that space with ambition, but controlled ambition, with investment, but with controlled investment. I like the nature of the job. So this is the country where I most like the competition, exactly because of the power of the league, with the nature of the league, with the balance that you can find now, even with the clubs from the mid-table. So I'm really happy, and lots of pride in being Manchester United manager. So when I signed the contract, I signed only because I was happy to do it.
Many Portuguese coach, like they say, you opened the door for them to be to spread the Portuguese managers in the world.
You know, I think it's quite clear and quite obvious that I was the first one to leave Portugal in the direction of the biggest leagues, the biggest clubs, and the fact that I stayed at that level for so many years, in Spain, in Italy, in England, twice. I think that made obviously an impact, and in the beginning create a wave of, let's try to find the next Mourinho in Portugal, which I think that's not a fair way to look at things. I don't think the younger managers, it's good for them to be compared with somebody that has the curriculum that I have, but undoubtedly open the door for so many of them, and I'm obviously happy with that, because Portugal is such a small country. We have 18 teams in the Premier League,
and you have the best player in the world as well, is Portuguese, but he's not playing in Portugal.
Yeah, but that's a normal thing, you know. We are not a very strong country by the economical point of view. Our football clubs, they are good in formation, they produce good players, but then is the nature of the clubs, is the needs of the club to sell and to generate more funds for the next years coming. So it's normal that the best talents in Portugal, they appear and they go abroad. Is that good to have a very good national team? Yes, that's good. It's great that the players, they go at young ages, they go abroad to the best clubs, to the best leagues, to the most competitive leagues. That's great. But then for the Portuguese league, obviously affects the level.
Do you think Ronaldo is better than Messi?
No, I don't think yes, I don't think no. I don't think it's fair to compare players that they mark undoubtedly the last decade, because the last decade is being about them, and they share the awards, they share the trophies, they share the headlines, they share the numbers. So I don't think it's fair for any one of them to be compared with each other, because they together, they left, or they are still leaving their stamp in world football, especially for the last decade. And a part of that, they are two complete different players. The only thing that you can compare them is in the number of goals they score, because they both score an incredible number of goals season after season, but then their qualities as players, they are completely different. So obviously I don't even lose my time trying to compare what is not comparable.
If they decide to close the winter window at all completely, is it good for the team? Is it good? Do you agree with it? Does it affect negatively the team?
I just think you have just to adapt to the situation. Just adapt. Again, it's like you can't do anything about the decisions. You have just to adapt to it. You know, if the market is closed, you have to prepare yourself for a season without the January market. That sometimes is a protection. Sometimes is a window of an opportunity. But if it's closed, it's closed. You have just to adapt.
What do you know about the Arab football?
I don't know much, but people that I like, some friends that go to the Arab football, they are the reason of my attention. I had, for example, a close friend, Pazeiro, in the Emirates. I was trying to follow all the time, but honestly, I don't follow much more than that. Now with Saudi in the World Cup, okay, let's see it, let's analyze, let's try to understand the level. So I will try to learn. I will try to understand better the level and the conditions for evolution and the facilities that I had a chance to see and to work, for example, in Dubai, but I had it before with Inter in Abu Dhabi too. The facilities are amazing. So probably attracting us to winter camps, and if we have the chance to play matches, I think we can affect the way we did, for example, in China, in the US, going there, playing matches against them, bring more attention to the high level of football.
Would you think going train in...
If I will work there?
Yeah.
Why not? Depends. No camera. Depends on money.
Of course.
Of course.